So that's cool. So, welcome. This is our local government geospatial coordinators forum. We wanted to just let you know we've got a very full schedule. We're going to do the speed networking thing. We're going to try that out this year. So hopefully that'll be a lot of fun for everyone. We're going to check that out. Meet other people here. So that'll be fun. And and then with the talks here, we've got with the talks here, we've got two folks in governance. Really excited about those presenters. And really, hopefully you guys will be able to attend the breakout sessions and learn from those. And we can also continue those conversations too with our committees, work groups, and support groups that we have, especially the support groups that we've created that really help us with folks. Here. What I want to do is venue here, Co-work 1010 and Cultivate to introduce Trohn Enright-Randolph, our IGIC president this year. And he is our Monroe County surveyor.
Join.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. I actually only have this one slide. My goal, how many people have really put time and effort into making a success? There's been many presidents of IGIC dating about 20 years ago. I'm going to get into some of my initiatives, but really I was going to talk about what I have done and how I'm continuing to do that, because that's a big initiative. I work as a field hand in Monroe County survey. At that 2016, I because that I had when I was serving and I have been successful in my role. So, jump to today, and I get to plug a couple names. I'm actually aware we're past presidents. One of them when you start interviewing. So through my leadership at Monroe in May, and also, with unanimous support from the county council, and just also got the new ELA with unanimous support from the county commissioners, which means we have more tools to deliver. It's great. So, what I've been doing with IGIC is, kind of going out on a campaign, if you will, and talking about how important this technology is. And so, in a society of professional surveyors about what GIS is and where GIS resources. I just spoke about NASA, and we did our education webinars. Work with practitioners across the state that are kind of, I'll use the term our coordinator, are the gatekeepers of the GIS within their departments. And as we identify these ancillary users, we need to provide educational opportunities. And there are discussions going on already about, not sure how many of you are address point coordinators. I know that some GIS coordinators are. To provide educational opportunity for these ancillary users. We'll never get away from the fact that someone's being hired into a role that they're not 100% familiar with. And we need to make sure that they have opportunities to learn.
Today, and $75 for individual membership. Information will be sent out today, so we'd love to have going on. The IGIC calendar is available for you to check out and just join and see what we're talking about, and also get involved. If there's some issues, something going on that you guys have questions about, IGIC members, you'll receive 1 free month there. And if you guys haven't been in any of those offices upstairs, We actually had a board meeting on the 11th floor, and seeing the view was really, really cool. So if you're on the executive committee there, so there's also a, so check that out if you want. We're supposed to have our mentee survey right now, but since we still don't have internet, we're going to push that to later. And Maggard?
All high tech here. So, good morning, everyone. As Joan said, my name is Tom Maggard. I work pretty good on the conference committee, but that doesn't mean that you're not. That doesn't mean that you're not. Like we said earlier, plenty of great. That's something you'd really like to say earlier. Plenty of great. That's something you'd really like to get into.
Question for you all. If I could have a quick show of hands. Who here is from federal government? Okay, how about local government? Okay, nonprofit? This is fantastic. Okay. For those of you who couldn't see in the back, we're all working together. Okay. And really, what the geographic office is supposed to do for town managers. Joey, maybe somebody's going to keep me on time.
We have Steve working on that.
Okay.
So.
All right. I mean, the agenda says till 10:20, so you're only half the audience. For 15 minutes. That's a long time now. So we're going to try to keep it to about 10 minutes in the end for Q&A. That's fine. All right. So,
Do you want me to change for you?
yeah. Here's my stuff. So, Sandeep Are, who many of you know, this year, IGIC, which is a new position, we haven't had this role before. And Marianne Cardwell, who could not, she's not feeling well. So we're going to pretend that we're as smart as Marianne. Right. Joan here this morning. Good morning. Joan and I have actually been on our team the longest. Yeah, the veterans. Data harvest, as well as Indiana. There's Caitlin. Caitlin, would you stand up? All right. Caitlin Pennington. Caitlin joined our team from the private sector and brings a really interesting set of knowledge around utilities, and is also jumping in on some broadband stuff that are our priorities, as well as next gen home. So you'll hear a little bit more in the breakout sessions. The two folks who are not with us this morning, Steve Aldrich, who is actually at downtown campus helping to teach a class for some GIS folks learning how to go from desktop to pro. And Pam Watson, who is on our team, those of you who help with the conference committee will see Pamela. She's fantastic. She's our IT project manager and helps to keep a lot of the programs and things that Marianne helps support running functionally and smooth. So she joined our team just a couple of months ago. So a lot of new faces, but not new to all of you, right? A lot of these folks that are on our team are familiar and very intimately involved in the GIS community without everything. So it's a small team, but you all make the footprint really, really big. So we'll talk about the programs this morning. So that's our team. Hey, I can do this. Okay. I'm going to mention this morning some of our strategic priorities. Let me stand right here. This is where I need to stand. Some of the things that we do in our office, but I want to talk about our strategic priorities. So we serve state agencies, we serve universities, we make it available, we integrate data, build data where necessary, and it's working properly. We work with local government, we work with state government, and we also do a lot of work at the national level. Those are things that are kind of coming down. So some of the things that we're doing, and we'll talk to you about this morning, are within these 6 different priorities. With the role and the ideas and the skill set the skill set that it needs to do what it's supposed to do. We have to step by step and says what it is the Geographic Information Office is supposed to do. And so when we were a party of one, when Jim Sparks was in this role for the first 10 years in the office, the data that we make available is reliable. So leaving that in the government, kind of fun, and then you go do something for as long as you can do it, right? So one a way to make that sustainable. With our partners across state, some at the national level, a lot at the local level, and we were finally successful in making sure that that line item in the budget was funded every information out there. Everybody tries to do this, right? All of the great things that we're doing. So then the last piece here is the piece that's actually to help us understand when policies are happening across the state. Our office best things that we align every year. So in 2024, when we talk about
the GIS space for the state of Indiana, the GIS at what the current state of affairs is with the GIS, right? And the initial idea that environmental like we typically do. But in the process, I think Megan and team were down with everyone and trying to do what they have and what they're trying to do. And there's a couple of years to think about it, which we can't do. And there's an enterprise that is changing from traditional environmental GIS database and applications to a tier GIS. So with all this in mind, I think they've done a very, very comprehensive review of what they're doing internally from the GIS office, but just not that, they've actually partnered with all the organizations. So it was a very comprehensive approach. It was from inside out view to make sure what we're doing inside, how we can gather that, and how we can provide that. Great. That's all awesome. What you do today, right? If you need something, you have to go to up to change to 20 days to program something. If you need it's another 20 days right? All of that is a changing technology. It's just not GIS technology of the stack that is improving and making strides across. There's other technology was looked at. On-prem was looked at. As options for infrastructure support. What can be done where we can do it efficiently. So the state of Indiana has chosen to go the AWS route. Is high availability so that it's really, really scalable. Just not providing and powering what we're doing at the state and the state agencies, but it's also how do we actually optimize our infrastructure to power Indiana Map and open data, which gets hundreds of thousands of hits every month, without being the system which we actually power the agencies to do their work, right? So that's part of the whole infrastructure approach, and that's the whole idea of what we've done there for, like, what we want to do differently. So in the process, the GIO data and the SCE databases that we had was only data. And we were doing ETLs from other agencies to get it in, and we're exchanging data from, say, local government or other entities to put in and serve it to our online enterprise portals, which help to do everything that you want to do. How to minimize. So that is pretty much what the approach was in terms of creating this. And it also talks about for operational use. So we have agency partners partner with us, right? DNR, Jeff is right here, one of the great support for us, IDEN, INDOT, Health, DNS. These were our biggest users of the system and also contributing to the data and providing the entire, very collaborative to make sure that we not only move the data from the old to the new, but also build the workflows in the new environment to help support that. In the process, what they've discovered is that, hey, I think in the new environment, we can basically sign up our own and use it for operational needs. Now, there's an extra burden to make sure that the system is up and running 24/7 to make sure that there's no impact to that. And how do you build those systems out? So, in terms of that, we've talked about collaboration as a part of the process, right? So, if you are managing the data, creating it, how do you provide the data that you want to and keep it secure where you So collaborations come into place with this approach where the creators can create and publish only what they need to the group that they have to, and eventually if there is something that needs to go out, that is a key part of how do we do it, what is the process for us to actually create, host and publish that, and also bring in the data cloud, plus GIS, everybody doing the work in our environment. We have like 10 different ArcGIS Onlines, AGL deployments within the state of Indiana, because we just not the one. The GIO office provides the enterprise AGL, but they are AGLs that are dedicated to enterprise organizations, that agencies that they need to do their operation business with. So we have 10 of them. So how do we bring all the content from all these different things and put it in a single central store to cover it out, right? So that is where our collaborations come in. So we have item, DNR, help, we have partner collaborations, we have distributed collaborations, talk about all the collaborations, we just don't talk. That's the idea behind it, right? We just want systems to talk. So that's part of the major part of collaborations. We are still in its infancy. There are growing pains with collaborations, with infrastructure, as we bring in more people. But the best part of this whole environment is the scalable backup if it's already there. Secondary running. So the system architecture itself is very well put. It's dynamic. It's evolving as the need changes on a day-to-day basis. Next, I'm going to briefly talk about. We are currently at ESRI 10.9. And I want at the enterprise level, that is the core level that they're running at. We have plans to learn soon. We are currently in the testing phase of it. This is part of the whole modernization, as we said. This started a couple years ago. It's a long project. The way how we built it out is with the least impact possible to the operations that are at the state and external entities. And so we cut one thing after another after bringing in the things that we want to and the workflows. Once we're to that, like, what is the life cycle of applications? That is something that we don't talk about, think about, and it's too late now that some technology changes, and you're all scratching your heads, and then you're spending enormous amounts of money and resources to do it, right? So trying to keep up with it, I think the best way forward is, like everyone's going to the cloud startup, but it's only gets you 10% of what the functionality is, but what is the best you can do with that? Like, if it's customization, how do you deal with it? What are the needs for it? So these are all good things that we're talking about, best management practices, and we need to talk to Keith and others on that Maggard brought up. It's just not external. We're also striving really hard with internal communications within the agencies to make sure that we are doing that job. And how do you keep them engaged to make sure that we are providing the systems that they need to help do their businesses. So that's part of the effort. These are all great, right? We're doing all these things. Well, the problem is user training. The more that we talk to people are like, we need training. We don't understand the systems. These are needed. We've used Automatic for 20 plus years. Like, how do I change to Pro? Like, what is portal, right? Like, it's portal. What's portal? How do I explain it? Where's my data? It's on the portal, right? So these are good. So how do you train them? How do you empower them? What are the logistics behind training? User money when we have training that I can go on. We need customized training that we can do based on most agencies, most enterprises look to in the same place. So I think and about all these good things. We really have, reach to any of us or Megan and shoot an email, and we'll be happy about what we've done, how we've done in much more detail and provide the information. All right, am I missing anything? Well, at the end it said significant coordination and communication. So it's like, I think I take my word back. We still communicate. The agencies to make sure that we're doing the collaboration that we have. Should throw you off.
I have a legacy non-for-profit Indiana maps that are organization for many years, and obviously it's gone underutilized the last 3 or so years. Do you guys have any plans for integrating or ingesting, replacing that, or taking that over as part of this initiative?
The IndianaMap.org domain itself, is that what you're?
No, the IndianaMaps.arcgis.com. The organization has an nonprofit organization. It's still out there, and there's a limited amount of content on it.
Okay.
And it's gotten a little dated, but it does exist, and it is a URL that is, basically, at this point, licensed by.
Okay.
But it's really not, the organization, I believe, is not doing anything actually. I think the only, yes, I think you, the survey won't be free. And I'm taking over that URL with every something in cooperation with IGIC.
So there are two things that we can do. We can either absorb that into the IGIC from IGIC to GIO org, if there's not much content there, instead of having a new one and not maintaining it, and have a couple users provide access to publish it. And if it's just surveys that are being conducted there in that content, but if there's a need for provisioning a new one and moving it to the GIO, that umbrella, we can certainly do that too. I just need to know more about what the need is in terms of maintaining that. If not,
He didn't know anything else to do.
see,
Been with GIO since August of last year and work for Mary Ann primarily on the Indiana map, kind of data curation and the data harvest program. So I'll real quick run through some updates on the Indiana map program. So we are nearing about 250 years, so a pretty significant progress on migrating the content in an up-to-date or more up-to-date format from the legacy IGWS site, and expect to have 3 dates, me joining GIO or me being particularly involved in the GIS community in Indiana, but I understand that IGIC is going to get the Indiana map platform and trademarks for a number of years, and I think within the last month and a half or so, we finally received that trademark from the U.S. Patents Office. So, yeah. I believe that trademark is held by IGIC. I think, Phil, if I'm incorrect on that, let me know. Okay, sounds good. And I'll run through some planned improvements other than the kind of data migration and data curation that we have for the site, which we've started in filtering data from the Indiana map site, where we plan to do quarterly webinars on different kind of topics on Indiana maps. So coming soon, we'll be going over the Indiana map community accounts, which are free ArcGIS Online creator accounts that because of our premium. One for downloading and filtering data, one for streaming data in ArcGIS Pro, and one for next week. So
Matt is going to.
And again, this will be on the FTP site, Sanborn's FTP site. If you didn't get the previous 2 years, I really want to mention the capabilities. We've been focusing on and you'll see the tile grid, and you can then go in and down. Moving on to the next slide, and the really neat thing behind this forward in the point. So it's that classification of vegetation, of buildings, and other resources that we all, flood mapping that bring the information to reuse. The question out there in terms of what we are looking for this next program, and that is, is it higher resolution than the 6-inch imagery? Is it products like imagery? Indiana's been Indiana counties have been using all partners and levels of organizations. So it's underway, looking to probably submit it out on the street, hopefully, end of October.
Has there been considerations, if you go back to your last slide, you see, 2016 to 2020, of what kind of flight path you're going to take? Because I think we were at the beginning of that acquisition for LiDAR, and, I'm curious, are you thinking about kind of flying those counties similar so we are getting that data sooner? Because if we're at the back end, then we're waiting for about 10 years for new data. So I was wondering what kind of conversations or considerations you're making about the acquisition of that LiDAR in the flight paths.
Yeah, the LiDAR is going to be acquired in the same year as the ortho imagery. That's something that we found that's really important for users, is to have the LiDAR and ortho imagery collected in the same season. Not necessarily with the exact same sensor, but we don't want to separate those products. And really, a big help for that is in the QC of the classification, being able to reference the ortho imagery and seeing if there's what was on the surface of the Earth at that same time. So we will be kind of working through a sequential process again on the same. So yes, there are some counties of this or some regions of the state, may be looking at 8+ years on collection. Okay. All right.
All right, I'm gonna put back this real quick, and we're filling up our time. We're gonna do a skip, but we cut it out, sorry. All right, I'm just gonna focus really quickly and then pass it back over to Matt to talk about data harvest. Our office has been taking on a project with a lot of different partners in the private sector, from the public safety space, to try and figure out what we are doing as a state and as local government with Next Generation 911. So there's a lot more to come on this. We'll probably have a webinar or do something to keep you all up to date at a future time. I could talk about this all day. Okay. I'm going to pass this over to Matt to talk about our Indiana data harvest.
As many of you are from local government, you're probably well aware of this program, but we are midway through the data harvest for 2023 and have received almost all of the data except for one little hole with address points, and section corners not shown on here, but I think we have 10 counties worth of section corners submitted this year, so that number has grown a little bit as we've been requesting section corner point locations. So we, as we have in the past few years, working with the Polis Center to aggregate and tidy up that data, split out or parse the street addresses into the NENA Next Gen 911 standard fields. I guess on this slide, the other thing I'd like to mention is for street center lines, you can see we have a handful of counties. I think it was 2022 in 2022, and I think it's around that same number. That kind of tan color represents counties that do not have address ranges in their street center lines. Is another priority that we are looking to get some progress on, I guess. So some of you are also probably aware, but we are looking to launch a platform in the next year or so for some data validation and data kind of cleanup tools. So this would be kind of a cloud-native platform that would allow counties to submit their data in a format of their choice, and it would run a bunch of checks, both on geometry but also on attributes, mostly per the NENA Next Gen 911 standard, and you would receive back a series of reports and spatial data markups on kind of where quality issues as it relates to those different validation checks lie. So we launched a pilot project with 5 counties, some counties that were coordinated by local government GIS coordinators, some that were coordinated by WTH Technologies, and did a pilot project with One Spatial, who is a kind of larger spatial data company that works on validation platforms, and learned a lot about what these kind of tools can offer and kind of what the quality level, both from the Next Gen 911, but also the parcel geometry gaps and overlaps, and also comparing your CAMA tables and parcel IDs to parcel boundaries to make sure that everything matches up and can join correctly. So we learned a lot from that pilot project about kind of what our priorities are for the software and what we need to take a look at. So we are kind of in the same timeline as the orthoimagery RFP, but launching an RFP, hopefully, fingers crossed, by the end of this month, to obtain a kind of cloud-native system that will offer this validation portal for local governments to submit their data and get that kind of feedback on data quality issues per the schema that we're requesting for the data harvest. And if there's any counties and local governments that are interested in taking part in that project in the kind of early phases of it, we would certainly welcome volunteers. I think this next slide, I'll talk a little bit about the timeline for the implementation of the data improvement project. So currently, fall 2023, we're in the RFP planning, release, and vendor selection phase of the project. In 2024, once we have a vendor selected and a contract executed for this platform, we will be defining a set of business rules, which these business rules are going to be what the system is going to be validating for when data gets submitted into it. We plan to kind of get counties brought into this project in different phases. So in Q2 of 2024, we will be doing training with the vendor, GIO staff, and the counties from the phase 1 project to get them settled in and kind of figure out how to use the platform. Looking to get data submitted for next year's data harvest through this platform in Q3 of 2024. And then similar timeline to how the data harvest has worked the past few years. We should have all the statewide data sets published at the end of next year. So timeline-wise, not significantly different from how we handle the data harvest now, but we're kind of adding an extra step of having this solution where we can try and get some data remediation done in advance of aggregating the data to the statewide level like we've done the last few years. And I think Megan will probably talk a little bit more about some of the policy, legislative reasons that are driving this project in a little bit here.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For the counties, were you saying that's just a select number of counties that are going to participate in that tool in 2024?
Yeah, I think that's correct. So we planned, I think, to do 3 phases in about a third of the state, so 30-odd counties per phase. So rather than launching all 92, which would be a pretty significant undertaking to get everybody trained and settled in, start with 30, and ideally those that are especially interested in taking part in this kind of project.
And then more the next year?
Yes, and then within about three years statewide, we would have that improved kind of data quality that we're looking for.
That's the baseline that we're thinking about, but the next year will include 30 plus what are the new ones, so it'll be 60 or 50, whatever. And then the third year.
Back to Megan.
See, like American County didn't give us points, so.
Mary County, I did you see that poll one in the background?
Because we don't want to go 20 years back, right? We need to talk about it.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so Oprah says you get data, so you get data, I love this. Okay, so one of the questions that came up at the end, I wanted to just clarify that a little bit. So the phases for the counties, so the rollout of the data improvement project is so the pilot phase we did earlier, trying to help us understand what it is we needed to do with the data cleaning tools. Very much like, how do we do this? So a lot of what's driving this is some policy updates that have happened from our friends in the state legislature. And we talked about this a little bit last year, but I want to bring a little bit more of it up. So when we talk about why we do what we do, everybody has, different people you have to answer to at your county, or different people you have to answer to in whatever level of government you have. And for those of you in the nonprofit university, in the business space, you get to help support those agencies that have to do some of those policy things, right? So for us, we are collaborating with our State Department of Revenue on a pretty significant policy endeavor that is driving a lot of what we're doing right now. So I mentioned earlier that we were able to secure some statewide funding that is going to be repeated every year. Kind of like the holy grail for GIS in Indiana. I don't think anybody really knows that, so I'm trying to explain how big a deal this is. Yes.
You did it.
Yeah. I'm going to turn this off, this Oprah's distracting me. So, do I have 5 minutes?
Steve?
got 5 to 10, 20 minutes.
Nice. Okay, we can talk in some detail about some of these policy updates, but essentially the goal here is to enable local government to have and keep their data, make their data available for public use, and have the tools available to them if they want to be able to improve any sort of aspect of those data sets. So we can approach these policy ideas and these initiatives that come out of our state legislature and all of our state agencies in a couple of different ways. And we can say, we're going to go find data and the state's going to own it. And that's not really our MO. We are, local government drives the data. So everyone in the room, who's the majority of all of you who work in local government, we are all still friends, and we're going to stay friends, and we're going to get real close. So the pilot project helped us understand what we need to do for data cleaning for local government. One of the things it told us, which we knew from the data harvest that we've done for a long time now, is everybody does it a little differently. We call it 92 different flavors of data governance and how everybody manages their data sets. So we need to work closely with local government in these next phases to understand what it is that you need, what's unique to your organizations, your processes. The data sets that we will be providing will stay at the parcels, addresses, and road center lines. We'll also be doing a little bit more work on government boundaries. For those of you who were here last year, we talked a lot about boundaries. We are still considering some collaborative editing opportunities, so more to come on that. But those first 3 data sets, those will stay the same. The geometry tools that Matt was talking about will be to improve those data sets, ideally to continue to support your local government operations, but understanding too that everybody does that in a little bit of a unique way. And one of the things that I love about our team is between Sean, Matt, and Sandeep in particular, they have a lot of local government experience in working in city and county government and understanding what it is that everybody does a little bit differently. So we'll still be asking all of you, how does this work for you? How will this work for you? And what do we need to change as far as our process goes? The communication on this needs to be really, really strong, and we will do our best to stay engaged with all of you. We are adding a couple of positions to our team that are going to help with this project too. We're going to be adding what we call outreach coordinators. These folks will be within different areas of the state that can help do some of this local government facilitation. And one of the things that Caitlin brings to our team is a perspective about how to get different government entities to work together. That's really helpful. But we're still going to continue to learn from all of you on this project. The policies that are driving it are not actually in stone yet. Those of you who are working in local government or in any sector, you all have elected officials. All of those elected officials are helping to support or not support different policies. And for us in our office, we are to make data available for agencies to do whatever job it is they need to do. And in this case, we need to help Department of Revenue be able to understand local government taxing in a different way than what they do now. So that's really what's driving this project. But in the process here, we are keeping with this idea, this value really from us, which is build it once, use it a bunch. So if your local government can improve your address data for a next generation 911 data standard. Same thing with your road center lines, because you're going to have to do it anyway. How do we make sure that that data set only gets improved one time, and you don't have to do it in all of these different ways that I think a lot of folks in local government have to do. So that's the idea, that's the spirit behind what we're trying to do. This community in Indiana, we didn't get to where we are now in the past. Our data harvest has been in place for 14 years. It took us 8 years to get every county reporting their data. And it's still a voluntary program. So every county voluntarily submits their data. I mentioned earlier how Indiana is a model. That does not, that data sharing does not happen in other states in the same way. It's not open data. It's not open and available. It might be shared from 911 center to 911 center, but it's not made available to the public. The way that we do this in Indiana is different, and I like it. I like it because it makes sense for government, and it's a good use of taxpayer dollars. So I want to keep going that way, and I want to keep learning from all of you about whatever your priorities might be as well throughout this path. So I'll keep going, but I'll open it up if you guys have any questions about anything that we've shared today. Jeff?
So in regards to training on the data harvest, so is there any thought on like training? So we provide as a city, provide data to the county, and then they provide to you guys. So I'm assuming the training would go to the county. So what about the city?
Yeah, that's, I think about Jasper a lot. So Jeff's with the city of Jasper. They have an interesting relationship with DePauw County. The way that the city does something is different than the way the county does something. We're seeing this in a lot of different places. So how do we get those two agencies to work together? And Jeff, that's a really great question. Do city governments, municipalities receive the training as well as the counties? Probably. I don't really know yet. We'll learn a little bit more about that. Our first pilot counties, we had 5 counties participate, 4 that completed the pilot, and every one of them named to stay at the county level. So we haven't gone down into your question. Any other questions? So yeah, more to come on that, Jeff, and don't be quiet. Tell us what you mean. Phil.
Will the data improvement project eventually also include filling in the holes on the map where, say, cities or counties don't have address ranges and center lines, don't have point addresses, don't have parcels, whatever? They don't
Yes.
have one of those, boundary roads, addresses, parcel layers.
Yes. So Phil asked is, will the project include helping to support those counties that don't have some of that, what we might just call framework data, ready and available? The answer is yes. There is also some funding for this effort. Not a ton, but there is some. So we'll be working with everybody to understand where that funding needs to go and how that works. I mentioned the GIS and Next Gen 911. We're working very closely with our state 911 office on making sure, because for public safety, you need to have those address ranges on your road center lines. This is kind of low-hanging fruit for us. So we're focusing there initially, but then that data improvement will continue to add the data sets or help support those data sets. Keeping in mind the operations of local government and what they need, because not everybody needs address books. I know, it's interesting conversations I have in our office. But so not everybody uses them. But what do we need them for? And in some cases, we do need to have them for state operations. So how can we will be helping the counties to figure out what data they need to improve and how they can do that. Trohn.
I guess, what are your thoughts, and is it going to be just kind of like his question with cities? Let's not forget towns either, but service providers. A lot of these smaller rural counties or municipalities, political subdivisions, really rely on their service providers. Are you going to incorporate them with some of this training as well? And if you would want to expand on how do we bring those private providers, partners along with us?
Yes, asked a great question. So the question from Trohn is, how are we involving the partners that are in business to help support the GIS operations of local government? The answer is they are at the table. They're actually, Steve, to your right, has been instrumental in helping us understand what, in particular, rural counties need, which is different in some cases, right? The resources are different. So yes, the training that's available for local government will also include the capabilities of allowing your vendor, whoever that might be, to get involved in those trainings as well. There also might need to be an expansion of that. We've seen this work in some other states where states have a data improvement need, and they might have a list of vendors who might do some data cleanup for them. There's also a discussion about the certification process for these data sets. So we're in the, as far as the data harvest goes, I would say, we do this like crawl, walk, run, right? When we look at this from the data harvest perspective, we are at a full-on sprint. We've already crawled, we've been walking, we were running, and now we are like hauling it, right? Down there. But as far as some of these little nuances, we're still trying to figure some of that out. But yes, vendors, business partners, absolutely at the table, because not everybody, we want to do it the way that county government and municipalities need to be able to meet those standards. Yes?
Yeah, I know you guys do the harvest once a year, but is there any way that we can push updates more than once a year?
Good question.
Because
We've been talking today.
no, I would like for things to be somehow coming back in through our enterprise department, but also to be able to push updates. And one of the big things that I'm dealing with actually is redacted addresses. So I'll have personal information that's associated in our parcel layer that I have to constantly basically delete the data so that no one knows that they own that property, so that no one comes to search for them in any way, shape, or form through any of our data sources that are out there available. So just being able to update that in a more frequent database would be helpful. but it's
Yes.
hard because it's only a yearly basis.
Yes, so I'm gonna take the people part out of that, and that's a policy that we can talk about in another way. The potential for the technology to do this in a smarter way than what we do it now is, it's there, right? We can do real-time data sharing. So that's a consideration. There's also a consideration for how we work with, again, with our business partners to make those collaborations work. And I would be interested in piloting some of that. What does that look like? How do I pull data from Mountain County every day, right? And that's really what the state government wants to. When we're talking about the process and the policies, all of the frequency of that data set might need to change as well. So I'm going to say yes, and how do we make the technology do all the things that you set it up to do, right? So we do that now with our collaborations. How do we just do those, again, external collaborations? I'm out of time.
Yeah, sorry to cut her short. I know you guys have class. We'll remember that for next year. We know you guys all have really good questions for me. She has really good information for everyone. But we want to make sure you guys take break. And hey, Megan, confabulations. That's awesome. So Ryan, you can come up and explain after break. Okay, so what are we looking at for time for break? How much time? 5 minutes, 5 minutes of break. Is that it? 5 minutes of break.
Pick it up. Yeah,
gotta move up a little so it's not on your forehead. Right there, right there, right there. Okay, there. Sean, you're in the front right here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and click. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we've got Ryan Lowe here. She will explain the speed networking game.
Hi, my name is Ryan, and I like metadata. And today, we are going to do speed networking. So if you all have badges, that look down there at the very bottom, it has a number at the bottom, and we're going to break out into those groups, because what we wanted to do is clearly everyone in the room likes each other, but we wanted to try and get you to meet some new people that you hadn't met before. And so we're going to break out into those groups, and if you didn't have a number, you can go where you don't know most people. So try and meet new people while you're doing this stuff. So we'll just kind of congregate in the groups, and I think there is actually one of our planning committee members in every single one of those groups. I think it's 1 through 5. So I am in 2. Who's in 1? You're in 1 because you're right next to me.
I'm in 1.
All right, so there's 1. All right. Where's 1 gonna go? There's mine. I'll go 2.
Follow your people who are ones.
Yeah. All right. So can I get the organizers? 3. All right. So there's a 3 back there. Where do you want to go? So right there's mine. 3.
Let me take the mic. I'm going to use my laptop.
Oh, you are?
I'm streaming now, so maybe I can just do that later.
You've always been
We don't know what we're supposed to do next, aside from talk to each other.
Yes.
All right.
I jumped over the deal.
It's not because of metadata.
Yeah, clearly.
You're currently living in
UK addict or?
No, I was born and raised in Charlotte, but so I'm, like I said, spatial challenge really fits me very well.
Go with it.
I think it.
Yeah, right. I was born in North Carolina, raised in South Carolina, moved to Kentucky in the middle of high school, and
How you doing? Good to see you.
moved to
You're
Dayton
You're from
7 years ago.
Indianapolis?
Built a house, and still need to be in the house. Spatial challenge. And then I worked a lot with Kent Park, and I was going to be his program manager or his project manager, and moved back into aviation. So I do a lot of ALPs, airport layout plans, and I was just talking about data governance. So data. Yes, now he's at GIC.
Oh, really?
Yes.
No, they're split off. Yeah. He does your review of you know, the
Yes, that's
certification.
right.
Kent doesn't. Yeah, Kent doesn't, so, you know, put a, you know, a couple months on there.
Yeah, good to know that.
All right, Andrew,
Sorry.
and Phil, you were joined us a little later, so why don't you just introduce yourselves and say where you're from?
Okay, I'm Andy Swenson. I'm Andy because we have another Andrew in our group now, so we get to split up names. I'm with the Indianapolis Metropolitan Planning Organization. We're a regional government, Indiana local government that was formed in 2020. We manage federal highway transportation monies for 36 agencies. So we have access to basically the 8-county area. Madison and Anderson have their own NPO, but it's a federal role. And then we also branched into our independence. We've become involved in housing, environmental resources, water resources, community coordination. We're not a taxing body, so we basically are a coordination and support planning.
I've been there 24 years.
Oh, we're going on. My name is Jinha Jung, faculty member in School of Civil Engineering at Purdue University.
He chairs our education council.
Oh, right.
Chairs.
That's awesome.
Phil Worrell, in 2019, I retired as executive director of this organization, IGIC. Since then, I've been doing my bucket list of stuff, which includes working with the NISGIC, the National States Geographic Information Council. Bucket list. That was.
Yeah.
3D elevation program for the nation, and now 3D hydrography for the nation. And Joan Keene invited me to come today to help moderate this afternoon session on the breakout on hydrography. And I'm also working with Joan right now, help to write the RFP that's on the street right now for Hamilton County.
It actually, the submissions are due today.
They are, right. Yeah, so we have a day reprieve before we have to start reading.
Yeah, we have to review this, they actually, we mailed it in today.
I know, so the auditor gets them today, they give them to the commissioners tomorrow, and the commissioner will give them to Joanne tomorrow. So she will be booked after tomorrow, so thank goodness we timed this meeting correctly.
Not that she's not busy. And he's also, I'm sorry, there's a ton more things about people that talk. He's the education, or sorry, the elevation commissioner.
Oh, yeah.
He's really sharing. So how many of you
Meeting
are
next week, by the way, next Wednesday. I will be there, even though I'm at NISGIC. I have an opening.
You do? Wow. Okay, well, I don't. I'm here on vacation.
Oh, vacation trumps IGIC meetings,
I'm not
okay.
gonna, I designed it such that I wouldn't have Wi-Fi. How many of you are on IGIC committees or IGIC, let's go with IGIC members. How many of you are IGIC members?
There's a big push for.
Okay, so no, it's not, that's awesome. All right, I think, did I miss anybody who's not an IGIC? Okay.
Anybody's guess is that.
Good. How many of you are also on, what's your, how about we go around and say what's your
You've done it the same way
favorite work group
for
or
20
or
years.
what you're
Well,
most
they're doing
interested
it the same way
in?
for 20 years.
I'll start, I suppose, one of my favorites that I haven't gotten to go to for a while is education. So, that's a really good one. The main reason that I'm interested is that as a private sector person, I'm always looking for the next person to help shadow me and do my job and just try to get there. And I feel like that's a really great place to meet people and see the opportunities and also just help them maybe not hit some of the roadblocks that I hit. So, that's one of my favorites.
Let me go.
Okay.
They're all my favorites.
I know, right? It's so
Okay.
hard to pick.
Well, when I was executive director, I literally went to all of them. And they all have their own merits, and they're just like this, an opportunity to talk and to network. I mean, granted, there might be a topic or something that needs to get done, but there's so much other stuff you learn during those. And now the fact they're all Zoom makes them super easy.
Yeah, very nice. And that IGIC calendar, if you guys don't know about that, let me know. Because if you just go to IGIC.org, then on the side, there's a calendar. I live on that, it's impacted. It's like, oh wait, did that one get canceled again? Where is that one going to be? So, yeah. I also, one of the other ones that's my favorite is the partnerships. That's one we're starting to develop. So everybody else here is provider or private sector. But we're trying to make sure that the private sector people who are sponsors and things along those lines are able to get a voice on IGIC referral and just kind of what you want to do, what you want to see. So one of the things that I did as a loudest voice, I guess, is that I didn't want to get up during lunch and give a presentation for sponsorship. So what we did is we've got a bunch of videos that we'll be playing, not sound oriented, on our screen during our lunch talk. So all the sponsorship got. All right, everybody else is quiet.
I would say the sport groups
Yes.
are great. First of all, it's a great platform. Most of just teams meeting where you can log on during lunch hour or whatever, catch it. You can ask questions on the nitty-gritty stuff. And as a coordinator, I'm supposed to enable the DNR employees to do their jobs. But again, I don't know everything, so I get on there and hear from somebody else. Wrestling with just everyday stuff, I'm going to share that. So it's a great pipeline-related knowledge base of IGIC. And occasionally stuff that I've already figured out that I thought everybody else knew. Because one of the conscious, I know that
Anything you're excited to see when you're investigating?
I think my previous, I was 20-something else ago, so I was all over the country.
It takes up
So data that you would use Michigan and trying to get in somebody, I have seen something that takes accounts. We have to pay for it. So this is very interesting.
It was the same year 25 years ago, so it's different. That's the issue. Everybody wanted to make that money that was content generating and creating a GIS. That's how it starts. It takes time.
Yeah, one of those forward-thinking.
But they're very,
one of the most forward-thinking.
they're very progressive, but they're also very.
States of
Prior to IGIC, there was images like just for the history sake, which coordinated the same data coordination for the tourist areas around Marion County, the 9-county area, like Andy spent a lot of time on that. But that was like a roadmap and model for the IGIC to happen. And then IGIC became what it was. We kind of resolved images because we did it stuff, but it stopped there because that was where GIS happened. There was a lot of money spent in the mid-80s to create that data, and it was millions of dollars at that time trying to capture the down basin and create a basin. That's just history.
It's so impressive, like, there's a lot of people in Indiana who never heard of their maps. I said, you know, that's pretty nice.
And make an online app
I have not dived into any work groups. I would like to get into the ArcGIS Pro group because I've recently, within the past year, migrated our stormwater layer to that, and so I didn't have too hard of a time. Just some buttons here and there, but there's, yeah. I still find myself going back to that for some things, and just because it's so familiar.
Actually, there is something who's going to have to negotiate mine, because we have
Yeah, I got you. Anyway, I think I'm just looking at it, just to have a comparison, see what
As you said, like, I think the technology is there, it's enabling us, it's not all rosy red, it breaks and
Be careful what you say. That's
the great challenge
I mean, not only that, but working, how can I get involved in something like I did for
yes. So we did those limitations you can get past by routing visual to it's like a router.
But it's just really looked up, so pick up. Out there where everything's nice and neat now, so I'll get whoever it does, drop it on the side.
Well, no, this is,
Are you a certified survey?
the guy.
We need more than
Little associates take the tech analysis this fall.
I do. I'm just their GSI guy. I'm not the surveyor or anything like that. Sometimes keep their maps, see all our sheds in the section corners and things like that. So yeah, no, just work.
I'd say tied in with that, but I think data into the field. I belong to a lot of large
I actually have I'm a fairly new GIS manager for city utilities, and I really like the support groups. I like to get more involved. Part of it is I'd like to look at obtaining the GIS for one of the reasons.
Yeah, we have about 15 guys that show up all the time, and we provide the, like,
Yeah, that'd be great.
current grandmaster. Amazing. Last year they won.
I signed up for that. I did have a question. I see the CAD GIS integration, data integration.
Because I haven't had any because
yeah, what was what's the reason for that? Is that stuff that's really like what my background is?
this is stuff that's and then when it came, I thought, I'm talking about very involved members. And that's what I'm trying to get over. My leadership of the shrine is driven by people who have specific interest. The shrine is the big chair, is our biggest. And we have some scholarships that kind of stuff. And sometimes local lodges, of course, speak specific. Like Scottish Rite, we have like a charge valley, entire valley, things like valley. So I think their share is learning stuff. Learning challenges.
They don't have the time to commit. They're
Trohn. Now, what's funny is Trohn's not
Membership grows.
but everybody who's on the shrine, when I went on the shrine ride, he joined Scottish Rite, and then he joined the shrine. The shrine is actually a social organization that was started as a joke. I did not show you. Yeah, they are. Okay, so over centuries, these guys are in New York, a social organization. And shakers and movers in the town, you know. And one of them had been over, and they had some social organization over. Fazos, they had some handshakes, little handle pastors. Why don't we do that? Let's make this more fun. It was just silly. So they used little fazos, and they used everything like names for all the different, the nobles who ordered the order the nobles who just and Yaakov and Rob was the capital.
Bringing it back, just
So we have these scattered all over, and then it got out of hand with the chairs. The hospital, which cost us something like $7+ million a year as a utility. Yeah. And that's a lot of, and it's an international organization. Yeah, very involved in. Yeah, we have some insurance.
Resources that have been around. That's right.
The big deal is the hospital. So we actually run like two fundraising streams. One tax deductible, one not. Stuff to the hospital is stuff to the temple. Charming is here. So we run one fundraiser. You guys have someplace to hang out with, they're gonna have to raise money. You know, when I was and services dominate. Well, it's the services now. And we'd always done it. Longer than our they're talking about bringing it back. Because that was the fundraiser for the temple. And trying to keep our dues down. Well, we now do have a sports raffle where they get a bunch of cards and they raffle. But we have to sell so many tickets.
Well, I'm in the same boat every year. All of our stuff is up.
They're giants. So often the kids are out of town, so we're not even getting this there. And I spent a lot of time studying the Trohn organization. I was an honorary college, Alabama Boy Scout, organization. lions, elves,
Yeah, well, the scariest part with mine was my father-in-law was also on his layer and had my bill impervious surfaces. And so I would be charging for a lot of revenue twice a year. So that he's terrified me.
And I was gonna delete that, or screw that up somehow.
We were able to well, not the right thing, but it's just part of it. And it's gonna take me a lot of time to read after reading all of that.
And then you develop community outreach. Everybody has something they do. I belong to the American Legion. I don't go, but it's my own lobby. My wife shakes her head for like $50 a year to belong, because I never go drink, so why would I go to the Legion? Well, it's my own lobby. And I also, I don't qualify for PFW, those things are quiet. Now, my nephew, he's going to be a fellow citizen back there. He does. My nephew, and I see that kids come out of college, unless we get, like my brother-in-law just got his 50-year photo and he joined it. But, and like, his son joined, mine did not. I go, well, look at your son, I go, when they can afford to get their own damn music, because on the same computer, you know, 3 more sets of dues. And that belongs to a downtown. My life it's not like when we had like 1,200 members. Well, that building, unfortunately, the way it's built, the first floor is like office. The second floor is the banking, all the big has the whole office, there's a lodge room, it's on the north side, on the south side, they're near each other. And each one has like an access hall on their side, and they're 2 stories tall. And on the 4th floor, you have like art bathrooms and changing rooms for both those. And then they duplicated on the 5th and 6th floor. And then the 7th floor and 8th floor have like smaller dining rooms, smaller bowls. But the building was built in 1790. Sketchy. You can't blame this, you never guaranteed to pass the electrical they put in conduit, they add electrical, the old 2-pole, and it's got on the elevator, it's this elevator, this one, my father-in-law was president of the they needed to renovate they needed to upgrade some power. So at one point, you have the building manager, the city, the electrician, and the electric people standing outside the junction box in the basement under the building. And the consensus of the electric company and the city figure out how to make our oh my gosh, there's no way to renovate one thing. And we don't have a grand launch, probably in the about 100,000. They were a real kind of water operation down to and this grant, so my lodge was at the 50, shared it with another lodge. We had like 2 or 3 lodges shared those big rooms. And they had different lodges. We've been downtown lodges. I had gone to them. And then it was hundreds of all these members from downtown. All the very my lodge was originally and then it got big enough where guys couldn't get a car out. So they ended up sharing it. Like we had mayors. All the but we never threw it our minutes. We never threw it away. So we had adjacent to like a little entry way. We had our composite picture in our map. 2 lodges. And you go into the big like the reporter's binder. Not the county. When you make the minute you can add things to the minute you change the minute.
All their stuff is hosted on there.
And it's a tough thing because you create a lot of junk.
The city is hosted with it as well.
Organization that's like all
I can tell. And so
let's put it this way. We always say we're a secret society, and we all laugh at that because the secret society always puts a sign on it.
They're not GIS professionals.
And we're joking like our involvement like in as far as secrecy and stuff.
What they need to do.
Really don't play stuff in. Sometimes I we all assume we kind of follow the Christian gentleman movie wasn't well, it shows in his writings, I guess. Well, put it this way, bosses at the meeting, they didn't have a forum. The legend is they opened and a while later they closed. They've always said, who did that? They were part of the crowd. It wasn't just this well, how many of the sons of they want to and we always talk about well, one of the things is more than government. There's always exceptions to the with the exception of murder and treason. That's actually well, given to me murder and treason exception. They always by taking us most of them our membership is stable-ish. Guys right have a bigger endowment, bigger everything. That I think is awesome. That building is approaching. Now that name is kind of reach out. We got a few thousand. I know, but you know, if you're in leadership, I'm only involved with the residents. Not only you guys you see the social thing of the organization because the leadership they have always they have to go to the international imperial meeting. IOT's trying to have to go to
As we go to allow you, so we don't
Well, they, it's not that. We do it on behalf of the, and then you pay as you go. Okay, yeah, we all are officers. We got a license and negotiations, which you provide those employees, the bigger side that provide to all the employees, the line through inbound. So it yeah, just wait. You just can't go in. You just can't provide.
There's 6 inch versus 3 inch.
This is gonna make the money somehow.
They're gonna make it back on that.
Yes.
I can introduce you later if you want.
Guess what? I got wind that they were looking to install today, so install what? Survey works.
Oh, good. Did you guys have fun? Is that fun? Is that
I just don't be asking.
You go on stage. How about that?
All right, everybody. Thank you very much. I hope you had a great time at speed networking. Hope you got some numbers and usual information and good food. So if we could all just take our seat here, we have a fantastic presentation from Jinha Jung, the legend. I will turn it over to Trohn.
Thanks, you guys. Is that fun? I don't know. Something different. We got it. We used to stay together, everyone together. We are going to go ahead and begin our presentations. This is Jinha Jung. He's with Purdue, Lyle School of Civil Engineering. And he is going to talk about access to data.
Thank you, Joan, and thank you, first of all, give me a chance to talk here. And Maggard is the office already talked about Indiana map how to access the data. And it is mainly developed based on SD architecture and coming from the academia. I like the open source. So next 10-15 minutes, what I'm going to talk about is how we can access these geospatial data available in Indiana in an open source way. So that's going to be the topic that I'm going to focus on next 10-15 minutes. And I'm going to first start with in the Indiana statewide LiDAR data set. And I gave a presentation multiple times about this LiDAR data portal that my research group has been managing for the last couple of years. And the URL here is lidar.digitalforest.org. This is the portal. And anybody can go and just click over here so that you can go over here and anybody can actually search for the data. And user interface is pretty simple. You just click, and there's some data disclaimer about here, and there's some link to download the metadata, etc. But essentially, if I like to download the metadata, for example, I'd like to download the data for Marion County. Just click this county over there, there's going to be a pop-up window. Says download the data. I can just zoom in to the area that I'm interested in. And you can see this in the blue tile over there. These are all those in the LiDAR tile. If you like to download the LiDAR data for this location, just click. And you're going to see we have a 2 statewide LiDAR collection so far. So there's a link to download point cloud for the 2011, and another link to download point cloud data for 2016. And we also further generate additional data product. Elevation model, which is an essential tech model, and we also have important mosaic images for the earlier one. We also have a search model, and is the terrain model, and more like it's a high model, which is an essential tech model. So you can download this data. I'm not going to demonstrate how to do it, but on top of that one, what you can do here is that you can visualize different data columns by clicking this EN, which is essentially this terrain model. You can see that this terrain model is being visualized over here. You can also turn on this normalization height model. You can just start to zoom in, and you see all those height of the data product. You can visualize it over here. And good thing about this is that now you can just do this for pretty much in anywhere. Let's go to Monroe County. Over there, I just turn on this DN. You can see all those in the DM over here. You can see how fast it is. I'm doing this in a water, Wi-Fi, public Wi-Fi. I can also turn on this mediation. You can just tune in over there. So this is a website that is open to the public, anybody can use it. But what if I want to use this data product for a large area? Of course, you can download the data over time. So let's say I want to have a large data set for the whole county. You don't want to click hundreds of times to download all those tiles and use it. So what we did in afterward, after we developed this one, is that let's make this data set more accessible using open source software, which is QGIS. If you go to the QGIS, like I mentioned earlier, I'm not as a user, sorry, but I'm just using the QGIS as the main platform for all this QGIS work. And QGIS, you can install plugin by clicking this managing install plugin over there. And give me a second. I'm gonna go and search for Indiana. There's 2 plugins available here. First one is Indiana LiDAR, and second one is Indiana Orbit Images. You can just click and install. You don't need to go anywhere. Click those 2 plugins, install, then these 2 icons will show up. And let me just open up the LiDAR plugin. Then I can just first select the counties they would like to access to your LiDAR data product. Let me just start with Adams County. And different data product. Like to access the digital terrain model, or in a search model, more like time model, or in vision. I can just start with the ETN, add to a map. Then I can see this is hundreds of megabytes. But all this data is stored in the cloud optimized format. So we can just stream this as a matter of click. Because this is an LOT file, we can just do all those operations that we used to do. We just go to the histogram. I see that minimum is 750, then a couple of pixels, it's a lower resolution. So I'm going to change this to minimum to be 750 using different color map. You can see all these layers being interacting with changes over there. the other thing that I'd like to do here is I'd like to also overlay this key shape map, put it at the bottom of this layer, change this into different render over there, and now we have a key shape, and these are being just being manipulated right away. I didn't download anything. I just click this one. It is almost like in YouTube. If you like to watch a YouTube video, you don't need to download the whole piece. You can stream the part that you want. This is exactly working the same way. You're not downloading the whole piece. You just show them the overview. As you zoom in, and only the part that you're looking at will be in the stream at the resolution that you want. Okay? So we can do this, but we can also access Indiana auto imagery from this plugin as well. Like I mentioned earlier, you can access install this Indiana auto imagery plugin over there. Then you have all the city counties over there. Select the year, because we only have 2021 and 2022. What is this in the plugin? I'm going to say add to map. This is a county auto mosaic with a format, and this is over 300 gigabytes. And I just clicked it and shows up right away because you're only streaming the part that you need. And I can just zoom into this area. You're going to see that there's some part where it's kind of blurry, but they're downloading this in a specific resolution for that portion only because it's streaming over there. You can see all these, what the images are available. If you like to, overlay these, normalize this height model for this account over here, I can just do this and change a different column map over there, and I want to use different layer, different column map there, and let me just zoom into the area, and you can see the same layer that we saw. It's just a matter of a couple of clicks, then you can just have access to this whole data set. So this makes it very, very handy. So this was pretty good, but this is only work for the QGIS. And what if you like to further expand this out in other software? Let's use this one to other GIS software that needs access to this kind of standard, this kind of data set. There is a technology called STAC, which means Spatial Temporal Archive Catalog. This is becoming pretty much the standard when it comes to sharing any spatial temporal data set. So all those NASA satellite images, like Landsat, European satellite images, Sentinel. Now this data set is being provided as a STAC catalog. So if you just go to the NASA STAC catalog, you can see all those Landsat images. We can do search by temporally or spatially as well. So we thought that maybe we can just do the same thing for this Indiana data set. So going back to this website here, we created a STAC catalog for Indiana statewide LiDAR data. So this is a STAC website, and this is STAC browser. So basically, we can see all those data product, DSM, UTM, and all the mosaic images. So you can just click through to see what kind of items are available. But the beauty here is that you can also do spatial temporal search. You just click search over here. You can specify I like the data set from 2011 to 2013 or whatever time period that you'd like to do, which I'm not going to do it. But you can also specify that I like to filter by a specific location. Let me just zoom in. Let's say I'm interested in this specific area, and they give me all those geospatial data products available for this area. Just zoom into this area, and it says click filter. And they're going to find all those data products available in this region. You can add additional filter by time as well. And you have the Boone County 2021 available. You just click this one. And you're going to see that actual all the mosaic images will be displayed over here. And any GIS software who can consume this in the STAC catalog, this can be incorporated into the workflow. So with that, I'm going to stop here, and if there is any question, I'll be more than happy to answer. And anything that I showed today is open to public. You don't need any ID and password. Go to live.detailvoice.org and access the data. Install Keyza as plugin, so it's access the data. State catalog, access the data. Go ahead.
Once you have those connected through either directly through the COG or through your stat catalog, what kind of geoprocessing can you do? Say, well, in this example, GIS, what are you limited as to what you can do with the data then?
So the file that you stream through this one is same as Geospatial in the local. So anything that you do locally, you can do it. But I don't recommend you to do this geoprocessing for the whole county because essentially what's going to be is the whole 300 gigabytes. So if you have a specific area that you are interested in, then start to zoom in, just make a subset of the area that you're interested in, make a local copy over there, then you do the geoprocessing locally over there. And if you are just like to operate in that way, but this can be many different scenarios. If this is being stored on our, for example, in an open bucket, AWS, you just spun up a new instance in AWS. Because in AWS, the virtual machine is very close to that action Amazon bucket, and consume this data set directly from the AWS and open bucket to the virtual machine. That process is going to be a lot faster. But one thing that I'll mention here is that all these servers and storage is hosted out in the Purdue data center, and maybe you guys might have noticed that domain of these services these are first.org, so all this is possible because of the funding support from the These Are First initiative here. I like to acknowledge that.
How about Purdue?
Well, hey, go ahead, sir.
Any plans to move that eventually to an open public cloud like in Oracle or Amazon or Google?
We have funding to do so. I mean, we have all this technology. To me, AWS and Oracle, Microsoft, they are just a service provider, and we have already developed all these the infrastructure that can be transported to any cloud.
Would you be able to provide all these links to these services to all the members in email?
Sure. I will provide the information to Joan, and Joan will send out.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Can we provide a link on Indiana map?
Sorry?
Can we provide a link to this from Indiana map?
So I think Indiana map is doing exactly the same thing that I was doing, but they built this based on the S3 ecosystem. What I'm doing here is that I'm building this ecosystem based on open source architecture.
But it's the same back-end technology.
So Indiana map using the S3 technology. Everything that you saw is built based on open source software packages ecosystem.
Good job.
Thanks.
Great. Our next speaker is Jeff Weaver. Jeff is going to talk about developing a GIS-based data governance program.
You want to hear me all right?
You're there.
Thanks, Joanne. It's kind of like extra marching band. I want to know about stuff. Although it proves a really good point, I'm about to talk about data governance and data stewardship. Usually people leave when I say that, but I'm going to talk about data governance and stewardship and everything that Jinha just talked about requires data, requires new data, requires data to be QC'd and verified, so kind of need these things to get those things. Thank you. Skip through that. So before I get too far into the weeds, I just want to start off with a couple slides about data and the GIS team. So data is really what we're talking about today. Information about assets, work being performed on those assets, how that data can be incorporated. I always love this first little blurb up there. There are 5 exabytes, no idea what an exabyte is, of information created before the dawn of civilization to 2003. So all the information between the beginning of time from man to 2003, we create that same amount of data every 2 years, or 2 days, excuse me. So I just think that's an amazing amount of data. A couple of common myths of data is that we don't have data, but we just prove that we do. You get data through social media, you get data through the state, through the harvest, through all these other sources. Or maybe our data is incorrect. That's also kind of a myth. Errors using inadequate data are much less than those using no data at all. If you've got some data, use it. Or maybe we don't have time to get it right. We've collected data, but we want to wait and get it perfected. The sooner you can use that data, the better. The sooner you get it out into the public, get eyes on it, the more accurate it's going to get, the more they're going to help you to QC and validate the data. Second myth is that GIS staff can do everything. So you just saw that 5 exabytes of data every 2 days is what you guys are now having to manage. A typical GIS team consists of a web application developer, an SDE or database administrator, a GIS manager, a cartographer, analyst, making maps, making apps, putting data together, organizing it, structuring it, QCing it, validating it. These are all things that most of you do very often one person or 2 people. This is where data stewardship and data governance can really help. Controlling data now is creating a foundation to govern it. Is going to be key to building a useful and productive database or productive GIS. So what is data stewardship? It's really about understanding your assets. It's knowing what data you have, understanding where it resides, ensuring the data is accessible, safeguarding data accuracy, building policies and cybersecurity requirements, enforcing rules on how data can be used, helping to make sure data is utilized, driving decision-making through data, and advocating for trusted data. So these are all these are all involved in how to understand your data. What data stewardship is or the responsibilities of data stewardship are to make data useful to your organization. So you can do this by developing strategy. Usually when we put together a data governance program, we help define a mission and a vision for what you want to do with your data. You want to define clear objectives and goals for how you're going to use that data. You want to develop guiding principles, and then you want to make sure that all of those principles and goals align with your current organization's goals. You also want to put together policies and SOPs. Again, this is not the fun interactive maps that you just saw. This is developing SOPs, rules, processes, standards, metadata. Does anyone here use metadata?
I do.
I love metadata too, but very few people use it. And with the amount of data that we're getting in now, we have to start using it. You have to start controlling that data, and you have to start offering training to help to utilize the data, understand that data. I work with a lot of engineers, and they are the most particular about the data that they're looking at. They're calling me all the time. Where's this data come from? How accurate is it? Where do you get it from? Why does my GIS work? That a lot. So, developing those policies, SOPs, developing metrics, tracking your progress, monitoring issues, and developing protocols if those issues continue to recur, so that you can fix those issues and you're not doing the same thing over and over again. Continuously improving your data. That's part of data stewardship, or the data stewardship responsibilities. And then finally, technology, system architecture, developing a good, highly available system that doesn't go down, a good data structure, data quality QC tools, utilizing those tools and putting them into your system, and then any collaboration tools. We very often will use like Office 365 or Teams or something like that to help coordinate and deliver data. And a lot of the things that we're doing here aren't specifically GIS. It doesn't have to be just GIS data. You want to be able to get the data, any type of data you can, and GIS is a database, so it can house spatial data or non-spatial data if you need it to. Okay, so the two main components of data stewardship are its systems and people. And very often, like we just kind of demonstrated in the order of the two presentations, too much emphasis is on the system and not really the people that decide whether or not the system will function and be usable. The people are the important piece. The people in a data stewardship team include the shareholders, which are people who are involved with the creation of data, but who don't need to make don't necessarily need to make decisions. There's stakeholders, and those are the people that are intimately involved with the day-to-day operations of the data. They may not actually know anything about GIS, but they know their data. You need to get those people on the team, you need to talk to them. You need to identify data stewards, people who can make sure that the data is correct, well maintained, and available. That doesn't have to be a database administrator. That could be an asset manager or somebody that you bring in to help identify how to validate your data. You have your data users, those are people who utilize the data either directly or indirectly. And then you have your data architects. Those are typically your IT people or your database people who are developing the schemas, the standards, the transformation tools. And in many cases, these are the GIS tech savvy people. So identifying these people and bringing them together is the first step in building your data governance framework. So developing your data governance framework, unfortunately, is a huge undertaking. So I'm just really going to focus on how you, kind of as a data steward and GIS expert, can start to organize and structure your data so that your data governance team can focus on governing the data. It's really just three simple things that you need to, that you're probably already doing. One is identifying what data you have, updating that data, and making sure that data is accurate. So to do this, we kind of go through these 6 processes. We have an RFI process, which is identifying what data is available, a data maintenance plan, which is identifying how data is maintained, a gap analysis, what data you're missing, a PAR process, developing data standards, a data editing guide, providing SOPs for maintaining that data and updating it, and then finally, a good quality assurance plan or quality control plan. So the RFI is really just a request for information. It's something that you need to put out to all your departments and say, hey, we need you to identify the data that's important to you and identify how we can get that into our system. Everyone's got a little back pocket list somewhere of the critical values or parcels that need to be updated or something. Everyone's got data all over the place. As a data steward, it's kind of your job and your responsibility to identify that data, bring it in, help manage it, and make it useful and available. People hoarding data is probably the biggest concern I have for data sharing. Does that sound familiar? Yeah. Oh, we're going to 5 minutes. The second part is data maintenance. So this is kind of my pet peeve. A lot of places don't really define what data maintenance is. I always use utilities as an example. If you're maintaining water and sewer data, usually what I see is, well, we get as-built in, and that helps us maintain our GIS data and what's out in the field. And that's typically not true. We always use the idea of a digital twin. We want our digital data to match our assets. We want our poles, our lights, our sidewalks, our curbs in GIS to match what's out in the field. Very often in utilities, it's what we get the as-built. And an as-built is, if you're not familiar with as-built, it's a record drawing that comes in after something was built, and it's the way it was built, as it was built. And then you take that and you update your GIS data. But there's also water utilities where the in-house crews will yank out a Kennedy hydrant and put a file hydrant in. There's different types of information where there's an emergency situation, we have to go and take out clean out a catch basin and repair it, and maybe we put a new one in. All these different, we might have people going out and surveying data. All these little opportunities where data is updated need to be identified, and the whole workflow process has to be put in place so that you can bring that into GIS. If you're not doing that, then you're just doing as-builts, and you want to kind of maintain a 95% accuracy rating, which I know that's a huge number of your data, and it kind of is a little meaningless saying 95%. You don't really know what that means, but you want your data to be very good so that people that are using it trust it. And if you don't do that, you don't build this data governance program, and people start noticing little things, you're not going to be using your data anymore. Second step is building a gap analysis. This is identifying what you're missing. You can run all sorts of GIS tools, all sorts of database backend tools to go in and say, hey, we're missing, we may not know exactly what spatial data we're missing, but we know within our spatial data, we're missing the material of pipes on 30% of our pipes, or we're missing the diameters of catch basins on 50% of our catch basins. Know that data, understand that data, and build a plan to start making that data better. It doesn't have to happen overnight, but you need a plan for that. A PAR process. So this is kind of an odd one. PAR process is developing data and editing standards. What we very often do is we get a department or a client's data, and we need to understand it, we need to fully understand it. If you make a streetlight layer of GIS, you will make sure that your streetlight department, when you're putting the GIS data in, as you come upon questions, you can ask them questions, and they can tell you, no, this is standard. Very seldom use, we don't call them watermelon heads, we call them cobra heads. We don't have any 1,000-volt or 1,000-watt halogen lights that are all LED. You need to identify these rules and put them into your system and make sure that every community is different, every data set is different. You need to make sure as a data steward that you understand these rules, and that those, and this PAR process is the process to identify those and communicate back and forth with the actual data owner. And then once you identify those rules, you want to put them into a data editing guide. This is a very structured, it's not specific on how you edit, it's helping you to identify your standards and practices for every single data set that you have. And then finally, you want to make sure that you have a data QC plan in place. Not just data validation at the front end, but you need something that identifies data integrity after it's happened. You can use a lot of attribute rules, you can use a lot of other things that, for the Esri software, you can use attribute rules, you can use data reviewer, you can use all these different tools, incorporate them, use the database triggers for certain things, but you want your data to be QC, and you also want to kind of understand your data. Like, very often we'll build into our data reviewer tools a search that will identify any water main that's ductile iron that has an install date before 1970, because ductile iron didn't really exist before 1970. And you'd be surprised people put 1870 on accident. You need to build a lot of these different tools and understand the data and build these QC processes and make sure that you have them identified and put into a system. So kind of with that, I didn't really include a review slide. All of your organizations are different, and they all have different requirements and resources. But hopefully some of the ideas have been useful. Instead, I want to share with you the takeaways and lessons that I've learned from my experience as a GS manager. One is SOPs and guides that need to be put in place. Not only for workflows, but also like visual tools to see how work will be performed. If you have that SOP, you can find out where the issue happened and fix it. If you don't, it's a lot of meetings and a lot of guesswork. Make sure that data accuracy is greatly reduced when data is missing or changes not been applied. You want to identify major issues with your data and get them fixed quickly. Somebody accidentally deletes an entire field of data. Happens all the time. You want to make sure that you have those QC processes in place. Data updates don't matter much if the quality of the data is poor at the start. So identify a level of acceptance of your data, and this is the responsibility of your data steward, your data governance team. Identify the level of acceptance of data quality for each data item and strive to achieve that, and then put metrics in place to check the application. Many people are involved in maintaining your data, bring them together. Data stewards do not have to be you. You need a team of people to help this. This isn't something that just the GIS person can do. Data stewards are often passionate about what they do, and the collaboration and common goals will probably surprise you. You may not know anything about GIS, but they know that they have to have that data and information in order to do their job. They're going to be passionate, and they're going to put the work forward to what they need to do within the data governance team. Finally, understand your data from a high level and force yourself to see opportunities where the data can be utilized and shared. Don't miss the many opportunities to use existing systems resources to have in place to make your life easier. All right, that was data governance.
Before you're finished, is your presentation available through Joan?
Sure.
Yeah, we can get this to available for all of you. All right, so thank you, Jen, thank you, Jeff, for the presentations. We are now with the afternoon agenda and goals. So lunch is almost ready for you guys. We want to thank Jeannie for breakfast. Jeannie is outside, please thank her. Mike's out there helping her out. Good breakfast every year. For lunch, we have lunch sponsors. So we have Wolpert, Sanborn, and Schneider providing lunch for us this year. Also, I'm going to go ahead and let you know which rooms are for the breakout sessions. So this main room here, we're going to have the waters initiatives in that back area. We're going to have the lead line inventory up here. The RGIS program advancements will be the room right next to us. It's like classroom style, sorry. And then data governance and data stewardship in the other office across the way there. So those of you who are interested in any one of those, feel free to join. We ask that if you want to switch up, just quietly, you know, walk out the room, check out the other breakout sessions if you like. And really, that is it for now. Does anyone have any questions, any comments? Is everything good, Melissa?
That last two, are those together, you're saying?
Yes, so yes, we have combined all of those. We're limited to space. Now, if you guys, this is all new. We walked in and we're like, wow, this is all different and new, this is awesome. So if you guys feel like you want to break out and meet near the food, you can do that as well. You know, no one's been stopping. So, hey Phil, do you have a question?
Do we flip waters and lead lines?
What'd you say?
Switch? Yeah, I need a projector.
I know you need the projector. Maddie needs it as well, so maybe you guys can work it out where you share. Sorry about that. Yeah. Trohn?
Anyone that hasn't signed up for an IGIC email, where it seems like we might be sending links, is there a place for them to do that?
An IGIC email to send the links?
Yeah, if they want to receive IGIC emails, can we have a list out front that
We
can
could,
sign up?
yeah, we could if you guys, we'll ask Jess to get a sheet
So if
up
anyone
there,
is
so.
receiving it, I encourage you to go ahead and sign up and start receiving the IGIC emails.
Yep. So any other questions, any comments, any complaints, anything? No? Okay. All right. Well, I believe, okay, so cool thing, we have vegetarian sandwiches and salads this year, so for those of you who have that special diet, we do have that. So have fun, guys. We will meet up here again in the breakout sessions, let's see, 1 o'clock. So, thank you.
That was